long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PHG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victories in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PHG forever, crossing the line. Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victories in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 2, season 2 of the Gran Turismo PHG World Series. I am joined by Mustang Chuck, as well as someone who I did not make a graphic for, but we all know who he is. The proprietor himself, PHG, Papa's House of Game. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
I'm going to shoot him for using that word to begin with. I'm doing good.
Doing good.
I'm doing great, TK. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yes, Papa the proprietor. It's the best. We'll never get tired of it, even if he does. We will not. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm really excited about tonight. Tonight we're getting top split, split one, and the third split. So we're going to have two very exciting races. And I believe we have a total of 5 splits this weekend. Is that correct, Papa?
Yes, sir. 60 qualifiers.
Wow, 60 qualifiers. That is incredible. So y'all will be treated to 3 races tomorrow, even though we just have 2 for you tonight. Real quick, we'll go over the round info here of what these drivers will be doing. They will be doing, well, it looks like 23 laps around Interlagos, one of my favorite tracks. 23 laps. It is going to be 2 times tire wear, where racing hards and racing mediums are required, but the racing softs are allowed. So we'll probably see those in qualifying. It is 4 times fuel, and they are going to be in their Group 4 cars for their manufacturer of choice. So whatever they chose as their manufacturer, they will be using the Group 4 cars there. And, this is a one I kind of wish I was going to be able to do. Papa, you qualified for this. Is that correct?
I did. I qualified for split 2, so I'll be in race 1 tomorrow afternoon.
All right.
They got a McLaren teammate in this one, so
You won't be biased at all for Team McLaren. Understood.
no, not at all.
Understood. Chuck, have you done any practice around here or tried it at all?
No, I haven't. TK, you said it's one of your favorite tracks. It's actually one of the tracks that I don't like. So
I'm with Chuck on this one.
Yeah, you just can't seem to get a flow with it.
Right.
Especially the section that's showing right there, just a second ago. There's just so many sections where it's hard to really find out where you need to put the car, what gear you need to be into, when you need to start trail braking off, and when you need to start rolling on the gas. So I have not, and I always hate it when I see this track show up.
Oh boy. Well, it's one of my favorites, and when you do find the flow, because it does exist, this track is amazing. But real quick, let's take a look now at the how these points. So the points are given based on your position where you finish in the split. Each split has higher points than the split below it. So if you lose first split, it's still better than being best in one of the lower splits. You're still going to get more points, but there are bonus points on hand. Chuck, do you mind reading through these bonus points here?
Yeah, sure. So for as far as bonus points goes, for our fastest overall qualifier, you get an additional 5 points. If you have pole position of your split, you get 5 points. Fastest lap of your split is 5 points. If you led the most laps of the split, you gain another 5 points. And if you lead just 1 lap, you gain 1 point.
1 point. Awesome. And then we do have our current manufacturer standings after...
McLaren. Yep. In case. All audio. Lost all audio. I don't think they can hear me.
You guys, can you guys hear T-Case or Papa out there in the chat? Somebody let us know, please. Papa's heard.
I knew there was one slide I forgot to add my own audio to, and well, that's the one that it was. But I'm guessing you all can read, and that was up on the screen long enough while I was talking and y'all could not hear me to know what order the manufacturers are in, because y'all are a bunch of smart people. And it looks like we will be starting soon. Papa, since you qualified here, can you give us any insight on perhaps a qualifying strategy?
Qualifying strategy. I was running the out lap, and I would do one hot lap, and then pit at the end of lap 3,
Okay.
and then go back out, get some fresh tires in the pits, no fuel, and go out, run another couple laps, try and do the best I could with the low fuel on the tires.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, we saw that only a couple drivers, and I think it was more dependent on what car you were in. Some drivers opted to just keep running laps and, did pretty well. But here we are in the top split, getting ready to get started. I'm eager to see what these drivers can do, because if I look over here on my handy dandy cheat sheet, I can tell you that Bobagito had the fastest time of everyone with a 139.025, and then we had PHG Racer 51 with a 139.077, and to round out the top 3, we had PHG Jorge Sr. with a 139.256. Of the drivers in here, everyone was in the 139s, which we were shocked to see. We thought surely some 140s would sneak their way in to split one. And Papa, you were one of those 140 drivers, weren't you? I believe you had a 140.450 as we now take a look here.
That is a rapid pace, those 139s.
Yeah, those 139s are extremely quick. I think I did a little bit of practice around here, and I managed a 140. Felt like it was kind of the best I had with the limited time that I put into it.
Officer Beer, I've never heard of that before.
It must be I'm guessing it would be a German.
Yeah,
it looks like a German.
There.
Let's see.
So those 2 little dots are called, y'all learned something today, the 2 little dots above some letters in the German language. It's called an umlaut.
Indeed. All right, so
Wrap up their out lap.
Yep, Shaggy's going to be the first one. And the Senna S's, this is probably one of my favorite parts of this track. You get to really keep it pinned, push hard, make your way to the 4th turn. My favorite overtaking corner, actually.
Right over here.
Indeed.
He pours down the next section.
And he's got McNaughty right behind him. Fast Cougar following. All these drivers just rapid, as you said.
I mean, they're a very technical part of the track.
Yes, and this is where I like, in the race, this is where everything kind of, you can make up a lot of time here if you had an issue in the first sector. And then, as we learned in qualifying, as they come down to the final part of this and start the final sector, this left-hander, it is so crucial to get on the throttle early. You want to use all the track as Shaggy goes all the way out on the curbs. And an interesting thing is Shaggy is using automatic and controller. So that is a difference in some of these other drivers who a lot are on wheel, and the majority do use manual transmission. As Shaggy comes across the line, he is going to give us a 140.6, but McNaughty swipes that away with a 141. But no, Fast Cougar says please and thank you. No, Racer 51 says please and thank you. Oh my goodness. No, Bobogito. Bobogito does it in the Orange Crush Mobile. Bobogito with a 139.254. Let's go.
I have a feeling we're in for a really good race that we're about to see. Considering these are all the top split fastest drivers, this is going to be a good one. Especially
And you know what?
lap of qualification.
A lot of these guys are in that G70, which is definitely cheater OP car for the moment. But
So you're saying Raider uses?
man, that thing, it is freaking quick.
It really is. It really
I'd be
is.
super surprised if that car doesn't win the all weekend.
Yeah, it's been dominant for sure, but there are some other good cars around here.
Oh yeah.
Because really, it was Genesis, and then we had a Mazda, BMW, Mazda, Ferrari, and then a gaggle of Genesis
Right.
going.
In a side?
Yeah, there we go, making their way through. Looking at this list and what we see here, someone we know to be really quick, and that is Wade. Let's go on board with Wade and see what he's doing. He is in the Ferrari. He's in the Monster Ferrari. That is a good looking livery. And he's
I
kind
like
of...
that red.
I do too. Now, it's looking like a bunch of drivers are diving in the pits. Is that going to be the same for Wade? Yes, it is. So we will go back to SPC, Mr. Cole Trickle, and he's in the pit, so that's not going to work. A driver I know to be staying out, Evolved, and Evolved had a wonderful showing in Split 2 last week at the Nürburgring in the Genesis Group 3 car, now in the Group 4, and a very cool livery. What am I seeing here? Just cool colors? No, he back into the pits. Interesting to see him just drop back into the pits, because that does fill up his fuel tank. And all that running kind of just gets negated, but maybe he realized he should have pitted. I'm not sure. We'll stay on board with Jorge here in the BMW. Jorge has pitted. We can see his fuel is down. He's done an out lap, so this is his hot lap of this section of qualifying. Coming around this tight section.
Down into the tricky bit.
Yep, in the
As Jeremy Clarkson would say.
Exactly. Into those tricky bits. Keeping it tight. Really digging the livery. Looking good. And this is where we're going to see a lot of overtakes. We're going to see a lot of side-by-side during the race. Oh, and he is down by 2 seconds. So he is, I guess, burning fuel or made a mistake. So maybe we're going to see that this is going to be his actual flying lap. Unless he dives into the pits again.
I bet he comes into the pits.
And Papa knows what he's talking about. It's almost like he's been here before.
Really interested to see how the lap times are going to shake up as they burn off all this fuel and get fresh tires on.
Indeed. Banana currently P10, right behind Pyro. Pyro will be joining us for race 2, y'all. So keep an eye out for him in the race and an ear out for him during race 2, as we will get his expertise. Very talented driver, part of the PHG crew. As looks like Banana has been able to improve ever so slightly. Currently, fastest lap for Banana 139.857, which is, if I can find him on my sheet, he did a 139.817 in qualifying during the week, so he's almost matched that. And if he continues to improve, he will definitely beat that time that he had in qualifying during the week. And if y'all don't know, during the week, everybody qualified 10 minutes around here, and that's how they got sorted into their splits based on their qualification. So these are the fastest drivers of the 60 are in this split right here. So that's why these times are so close. P10 and P1 are separated by just over half a second. Incredible. We're going to get a flurry of drivers, including Shaggy Doo, who's at the bottom of the barrel. Pyro up into P3. Cornbread into 7. Banana into 9th. Where did that put Shaggy Doo? Shaggy Doo still in 14th. And thank you very much, Dan Mage, for your 3 months. Shout out to the PHG crew for hosting all this. And thank you, Papa, for the gifted membership. And congratulations, Mr. Casual. Let's check out what's going on with our man Shaggy Doo. He is the mastermind behind all this. Papa, what do you think's going on here? He's still in P14.
I wouldn't hold your breath being there.
Yeah. Okay.
Knowing Shaggy, he's got, I don't know.
He's got a master plan.
He's got a master plan, indeed. And I mean, we're coming up to the end of qualifying. This is the final lap for those that are out there. Let's ride completely on board.
It's pretty quick.
Say that again, Papa.
It is pretty. His Ferrari is pretty quick, and we know he's quick. But again, he's fighting a field of G70s too.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, he's only up a 10th. This just may not have gone in his favor. So, with traffic outlaps, it could just be he just couldn't quite put it together, and that's the fun of live qualifying versus just running. Whoever can run the fastest time trial lap. I do enjoy this because sometimes. Yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
I was just going to say, I can 100% attest to that. There's been times when I've been, hot in practice, just running laps and okay, I'm on it. I got it. And then for whatever reason, the day of the race, maybe I slept funny or something like that, but it's just, man, I'm off pace. What the heck's going on? But the good thing about live qualifying, especially with how GTWS did it, like it or hate it, some of the qualifying sessions were much, much longer, and it gave you a lot of time to be able to make up for poor laps.
Indeed. And
for whatever reason, got started and you're not, doing as well as you would think.
For sure. And I want to point out, Bobagito did what nobody could do during the week. That's a 138.898. 138, y'all. Bobagito making it look easy out there in the Orange Crush. I really enjoy that. The way the blue and orange just pop. They just pop. And making it look real easy and really, 2/10 off of SPC. That is impressive. Take a quick look. Papa, do you mind reading through the standings here?
All right. Well, we got Bobagito with 38.8. A 1 minute 38.8. Congratulations, Bobagito, on those 5 bonus points. Second place, we have PHG SPC, aka Cole Trickle, in his G70 with 39.1. Jorge P3 in the BMW with 39.2. Racer 51 with that Mazda 3. There you go, Leo.
Yeah.
With a 39.3. P5 is Pyro in his G70 with 39.4. P6, P Steve, a McLaren teammate Fast Cougar with 39.5. That's flying for the McLaren. I
Yeah.
don't know how he does that. C-Dubs and P7 with the G70 with a 39.5. Then we have Cornbread P8 in the Mazda 3 with a 39.5. Coming into PE9 will be Wade CDR in his Ferrari with 39.6. P10 is Banana in his BMW with a 39.7. P11 is McNaughty in the Lone Hurricane Huracan with a 39.9. We have Root G70 with the 40.0. Evolved with the G70 with the 40.0. And Shaggy Doo in his Ferrari with a 40.3.
Wow.
Tight times, man.
Yeah, that is really
Damn.
close.
First to last, 1.5 seconds.
That is amazing.
That's tight, yeah.
Now the question is, what are we going to see strategy-wise? Do either of you have any insight on the strat? Because they have to use the hards and the mediums.
Right. I know what the strat would be for the McLaren. I've been practicing some races. Fast Cougar's been in a couple practice laps, and I think we're both on the same strat. But really, every car and driver, it's going to be within a couple laps of each other.
Mm-hmm.
They could pit anywhere from, say, lap 5 to lap 8 to get off hards, or they're going to run their mediums to like lap 10, 11. If you start on the mediums, fuel is what's going to make you pit.
Yeah, because there is a fuel multiplier.
Right. Yeah, if I remember right, I ran in practice 16 laps on the mediums before I needed fuel.
Wow. Well, this is going to be where obviously Jorge able to do a fast time, and Banana as well. As we've learned, you kind of want to short shift that BMW, which is beneficial to the fuel. Chuck, do you have any thoughts on this race before we get started? Chuck?
Oh, Chuck.
He might be having cat issues.
Right.
He's got cats in the office. All right, let me get all the settings where they need to be as we
Here we go, y'all.
get ready for the start of this race. Bobagito in P1.
I can't wait for this race.
I like that we have...
Super excited.
Indeed. I like that we have those BMW and Mazda kind of snuck in there between some of those G70s. It'll be interesting to see how that
There we go.
affects
Guys
on
got
the
me now?
start. Yes, we got you now,
Yes.
Chuck, as we are underway. And it looks like Bobagito gets an excellent start, as does SPC and Racer 51. Maybe looking down. No, everybody's keeping it clean. Very tight in the back. Coming around through the Senna S's into turn 3. Bobagito taking it away. Starting to pull a gap there. Jorge on the back of SPC as they come down single file into turn 4. Doesn't look like anybody is close enough yet. Further back, Cornbread making the move. Cornbread makes the move on C-Dubs. Can he hold it? He is on the inside, but he is going to be on the outside. What is going to happen as they come into this long turn here? And no, Cornbread gets it done.
Got him.
Let's go back and look at that real quick. As we see coming down the straight into turn 4, I've said this is my favorite overtaking spot. And look at that, Cornbread dives down the inside, is able to take it from C-Dubs and hold on. And just the power of that Mazda 3 overpowering the G70.
Nice. Good pass.
Very nicely done. It looks like we have some action up there for P3 with Racer 51 pressuring Jorge as they come into the penultimate corner of lap 1. Pyro not long off as they come up the hill. Who gets the better exit? It's looking like Pyro got a better exit than Racer 51, but Racer 51 is in the Mazda 3, which we just saw has all the power. As they come back into turn 1, again, not giving anything. And Cornbread in the background fighting hard. There goes Racer 51. There goes Cornbread staying ahead of C-Dubs. It looks like C-Dubs was maybe able to pull a little bit on them as they went through the middle sector. As we see in the background, that is Root battling it out. Let's see what happened
Almost
to
going
them.
3 wide there.
He's going to get a pen for that. Ran that pretty wide.
Yep.
Didn't look like it.
It looked like he may have gotten a tiny bump from Banana, but they were trying to keep it as clean as possible.
Right. Good racing.
Good racing indeed.
Door bagging never hurt nobody.
And it looks
Good
like
no pin.
no pin,
Good
but it
call,
looks
no
like he
pin.
fell way back. Looking up ahead, Bobachito's got that nice lead. SPC not too far behind. And then it's Racer 51 is the cork in the bottle. He is on the racing mediums as Jorge Sr. goes a little squirrely side by side with Pyro. Pyro now on the inside up, and is Fast Cougar going to be able to make the move stick as well? Jorge losing position after position. No, Fast Cougar's not able to take it, and Cornbread now trying to put the moves on Fast Cougar as he now has the inside on the throttle. Is he able to get it? Yes, Cornbread able to take the position off Fast Cougar. Incredible. I would like a moment to talk about what we've just seen, but it hasn't stopped.
Where do you start?
Yeah. It's just been incredible.
Because Jorge is now back on Cornbread. Jorge up the inside, but inside becomes the outside very quickly. Space is given. They go 2 wide behind as well. And now, who is that on the outside? Is that C-Dubs? No.
C-Dubs, yeah.
Yeah, C-Dubs on the outside battling with Jorge and Fast Cougar. Fast Cougar on the inside. Up the inside, Fast Cougar. And he's able to make it 6, sliding in ahead of C-Dubs. Right on board with C-Dubs as they keep swapping positions here. Wade CBR not far behind C-Dubs as well. Okay, it looks like we got a little bit of breath. What just happened? Somebody tell me what just happened.
Some darn good racing. That's what's going on here. Look at how close everybody is still together. I mean, normally at this point in a daily or in a World Series or a points race, you see people start to really break off. But for the most part, from what I can tell looking at the map, with the exception of maybe P1 and P2, maybe it looks like everybody's still pretty much stacked together. This is incredible.
Yeah, they are. And it's, I mean, P9 and then back to McNaughty and P10. McNaughty has a bit of a gap to Banana and the rest of the crew, but P10 through P5 is all on top of each other. Well,
Yeah.
Great. Somebody show me 3 wide, please.
yeah. We'll just kind of do this little chase cam here. On board with Cornbread, and just, I mean, they're single file now. No longer side by side, but Fast Cougar is just there. And then, of course, right behind Fast Cougar is C-Dubs. Looks like Jorge is going defensive. He knows he can't put the move on Cornbread. That's going to allow Fast Cougar round the outside into turn 4. C-Dubs keeps his nose there, but no, Fast Cougar's able to get around. And now it is Fast Cougar, Jorge Sr., and C-Dubs. And now it looks like C-Dubs is trying to make a move around the outside on the double apex. Jorge Sr. keeping himself there. We'll go back one more so we get a better view as we ride on board with Fast Cougar. Jorge able to keep the position, but applying the pressure. That's allowing Wade CBR to stay in it as well. And McNaughty not too far behind as well.
Yeah, he's closed.
All this squabbling has allowed for some of those further back drivers to get it. As you can see, Banana not too far off the back of McNaughty, but now the battle is clearly between Jorge Sr. and C-Dubs, and this is where we might see an advantage from the G70 as Jorge Sr.
is outside.
Jorge runs wide. Incredible. That allows C-Dubs. C-Dubs is there. We'll ride on board with Jorge Sr. Let's see if we can let's see that after we see what happens here at turn 1. Does Jorge Sr. try to make a move going into turn 1? And no, he is not able to do it. Let's see if we can ride on board with Jorge Sr. as he just runs a little too wide here. Losing it, not able to get on the power, and it's so crucial to get on the power there.
These curves look like they're wider than what they actually are.
Indeed, indeed. And they kind of slope away from you. They have a little bump, and then it really can cause, as we see, C-Dubs there with a little wiggle, pushing it a little hard over those. We haven't seen any track limit penalties so far. I will notice Jorge Sr., you know why he's been going backwards, guys?
Why is that?
He's on the racing hard tires. Everybody else I've seen has been on the medium. So real quick, we're going to cycle through the field, take a look at what tire everybody is on. We got Bobagito, P1 on the mediums. SPC Cold Trickle, P2 on the mediums. And then we got a battle between Racer 51 and Pyros. Pyro sends it up the inside going into the final turn. Racer 51 able to stick it around the outside. It does have the power, but Pyro has the grip with the all-wheel drive. They're going to go wheel-to-wheel all the way down the start-finish straight into turn 1, but Pyro will be on the inside, which is crucial for the Senna S's. As Racer 51 starts to pull away. Look at the speed of that Mazda 3. Incredible as they go into turn 1. You would think that that 4-cylinder would not have that much power, but it sure does. But Pyro,
baby.
Pyro's not done. Pyro's sticking on him. Pyro also on the mediums, right? Let's make sure. Yes, Pyro on the mediums. Racer 51 goes defensive. And into turn 4, just bumper to bumper. And Racer 51 able to pull away, and it looks like he's able to pull a little bit of gap. We'll keep going down. Cornbread on the mediums. Fast Cougar on the mediums. C-Dubs on the mediums. Jorge is the only one on the hard so far. No, Wade CBR on the hards. McNaughty on the mediums, putting pressure onto Wade. Root is on the mediums and Banana on the hards. Shaggy.
Gotta say,
Go ahead, Papa.
I'm surprised how many people started on the mediums.
Yeah, you would think that maybe just the tops would, and the rest would start on hard. Shaggy on the hards, and Evolved on the hards. Huh. Yeah, that's perplexing to see.
I mean, 2/3 of the field were on racing mediums to start their race. Like you said, you expect maybe the top 3 or 4 to start on mediums. I'm shocked there was that many.
Pyro about to make the move around the outside. And no, he cannot make it stick. They're just going to continue to lose time if they keep battling like this. Because look at how much of a gap they have now to SPC. 4.2 seconds.
And over 6 seconds to the leader. Yep.
But Pyro wants that podium position, even though it's only lap 7 of 23. And, oh, Racer 51 runs a little wide. I still think he keeps it within the track limits, but that is going to compromise him coming up the hill into the double apex. Nothing Pyro can do but just be patient.
Well, and it's also putting a lot of pressure on him, T-Case, when you're up in somebody's mirror like that. I mean, it's one of my favorite tactics to do when I'm behind somebody is just stay all up in that mirror and keep that pressure on them because, I mean, I don't have to explain it to anybody down in the chat. We're all racers here. We know that feeling when you see somebody ride up your tailpipe, just dancing all over the place. And it's a psychological factor, you know, to try to get in their head and they can make a mistake and then you just drive on by.
Absolutely. As you see just how Pyro's not really having to worry about Cornbread at all, as he has that huge screen there in front of him. But you're right, he, like Racer 51, that's all he can see. He can't focus on what's in front of him. Because that's all he can see. That
Right
is
there.
all he can see right there. We'll go on to this viewpoint here. We can see how close Pyro gets. Though it seems like this is the furthest away Pyro's been in the last couple laps. It might be just that long straight has the advantage to the Mazda, but then when they come into the technical bits, advantage Pyro in the G70. But Racer 51 does go purple right there as, ooh, Pyro gets really close this time. As they come in, but still not able to close the gap, and it's starting to look like Cornbread is starting to catch Pyro. I wonder if all that close running he did chasing down Racer 51 may have affected Pyro's tires a little bit more than Cornbread. And no, it looks like Pyro has better tires than Racer, at least. What were you going to say, Papa?
That Mazda 3 is not good on front tires.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are seeing that because Racer... Actually, Cornbreads don't look too bad, but Racer 51 definitely has the worst of the wear on those fronts.
Well played. Worst of the wear.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it looks like Pyro is now back again, ready to apply the pressure. How is he going to do it? He's bump drafting. He's trying to push him a little bit. There we go, another little bump. Pyro not looking to make a move, wanting to work with him. No, is he going to? No, he doesn't. He continues to bump. I think he wants to get away from Cornbread, and knowing that Racer 51 starting to wear his tires a little bit more as Cornbread almost goes wide but keeps it in the track.
And that's what Pyro's doing too. Could be used as a tactic. You know the car in front of you's tires are getting worn. Make him go faster.
Make him go
Or
faster.
just wear him quicker.
Absolutely, and you know he's got the straight line speed in that Mazda, so it's really to his advantage to get a nice toe up the hill. You're right, Papa. I think he is playing the smart game. As we've gotten to know Pyro, we know he is a very smart man, so it makes perfect sense. And I don't know if he's gonna. It doesn't seem like he's gonna be making a move. He does still have Cornbread right there.
Oh.
Oh.
Nope.
Yep. He goes. Oh. Nope.
Crossover.
He's looking.
It's there because he's worried about Cornbread. Now Cornbread going around the outside. Is he going to take advantage of that little wobble that Pyro had? No. Pyro is able to keep the throttle on as they come out a little bit on the grass. Cornbread able to keep it together as they spread out a little bit. Go back Fast Cougar. Then we got C-Dubs in P7. McNaughty up to P8. So he's made up several positions. He is on the mediums, and I believe most of the drivers now behind him are going to be on the hards. No, Root is on the mediums, but there we go. Evolved on the hards. Jorge Sr. on the hards with a penalty. Oh no, Jorge on the mediums. Did he pit? He must have pit already while we were watching that battle, as Evolved is now going in the pits. So he's not going to try to go he's not going to go the whole way on the mediums now, is he?
Yeah, and like I said, I made it 16 laps.
Oh wow.
I've only got what 14 at this point right now, so
all right. Well, here we go. Jorge pit stop taken care of. Evolved pit stop taken care of, but Wade trying to go around the outside. Cannot make it stick, but now he's got the inside. No. Jorge able to stay ahead as Wade. Oh, sorry. Wade also on the mediums, also having made his pit stop. So it looks like a lot of those hard runners have made their pit stops. We'll go back up to Racer 51, who is still under pressure from Pyro.
Good Lord. This battle is epic right here.
It
Brutal,
really
right?
is. It really is. We'll kind of get it from Cornbread's point of view, and he does have Fast Cougar not too far behind. We'll ride on board with Cornbread.
I'm impressed with Cornbread's tire wear. He's doing pretty good. that Mazda with that tire wear.
He kind of seems to just kind of be waiting back and then
Yeah.
using it when he sees something. Like right now, this is not going to be good for his tires. He's going to have to calm down, tuck back in. Ooh, there looked like a little net Cody bump there. Push Pyro a bit further ahead. Racer 51 still able to stay in P3. And Fast Cougar now not too far off. We are on lap 11 of 23. All these drivers up in this top half are going to have to pit for the hard tires. And we saw how slow those hard tires are compared to the mediums. But a lot of those drivers who have pitted now for the mediums, they're going to be pretty worn out by the end. So it might balance out. Papa, did you do much running on the hards, or were you more focused on how long you could get the mediums done? As Pyro, round the outside, I don't know that he's going to...
Good Lord.
He could do it. It's got the grip on the outside. He makes the move stick. We ride on board with Racer 51, who's mediums, and Racer 51 sends it. Very aggressive send from Racer 51. He definitely did not have the... Yeah, he does not have the grip to be sending it like that. And that allowed Cornbread to get through. Let's see. There's the send. Here's Cornbread through as well. And just like that, that's 2 positions lost for Pyro.
That's what I call threading the needle, boys.
And Cornbread now applying plenty of pressure. Racer's going to have to pit soon, y'all. I don't see how he's able to make it happen. As they go 3 wide, almost. No, they think better of it. Tuck back in. Cornbread still ahead of Pyro, but Pyro's coming back on Cornbread on the outside.
Watch that McLaren behind these guys.
Oh, yeah. That's Fast Cougar, who I'm sure is sitting pretty on tires. Oh, yeah. His tires look fantastic. Oh, yeah. As Cornbread sends it up the inside. I wish this camera would change. No, Cornbread isn't able to get it done. Let's see on an onboard here what happens as Cornbread feels like he has the pace advantage over Racer 51. Goes purple. He does put it up the inside. And even Pyro trying to give him a little push through. He's just not able to get the power down and get the traction on. As Pyro is still applying plenty of pressure. And there he is, Fast Cougar. He said not to count it out. And just behind Fast Cougar is C-Dubs. And I don't think Naughty is too far off either, just lurking in the background. Do we see Racer 51 come into the pits, or is he just going to continue to make it work? As it looks like Fast Cougar is putting the moves on Pyro now. He's got the inside. As they
Ladies
come
and gentlemen,
around.
we are just a little bit past halfway through, so we have a lot of racing still left to do.
A lot of racing. I'm very curious as he sends it late on the brakes. Ooh, maybe too late on the brakes. No, he gets it stopped. Gets the move done cleanly. Very nice remove by Mr. Fast Cougar.
He is so good under braking.
Let's see this again. Just look, gets it done. Nothing that Pyro can do but slot in and accept the fact that he just got overtaken. And now we got Fast Cougar putting the pressure on Cornbread as they come up into the double apex. Cornbread trying to keep Fast Cougar off. It seems like these drivers have had little bursts of speed. As Pyro now gets back ahead of Fast Cougar, he says, no, that's my spot. However, Fast Cougar says, no, that's my spot. And unfortunately, it's going to end in it being Pyro's spot.
There's McNaughty.
No me, no mine.
That was...
Naughty's made it a 6-car battle.
There we go. He has made it up. And that was pretty impressive between Fast Cougar and Pyro. As they go up the hill, we're going to go back and take a look at that again, because I want to see how Pyro gets up ahead, but he can't quite keep that, and that allows Fast Cougar up the inside, but ultimately it becomes Pyro's position as he gets the inside again. Thinks about the lunge on Cornbread. Incredible. Incredible. They're going into turn 1 now. And you know what? Racer 51 making those tires work for him. Now all these guys are battling behind him. He's kind of been able to chill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Fast Cougar with a half-second penalty.
Ouch.
That's going to
A little
hurt.
too wide.
That's going to hurt. That's definitely going to allow C-Dubs and McNaughty to get through because these penalties here are brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here as they come into the double
May not be-
apex. What was that, Papa?
May not be time for Cougar to box this lap.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
minimize the damage, as they say.
Right.
And I did see in the chat, this might be a little old, but Salamander asking what Jorge's doing back in 11th. He is on an alternate tire strategy. He started on the hard, so he and the rest of that group back there were hard to medium runners, and these are the medium to hard runners. As we're going to ride on board here with McNaughty and just see how brutal this penalty for Fast Cougar is, as McNaughty actually gets a much better run over C-Dubs. There goes Fast Cougar losing both positions. McNaughty now, and are we seeing? No. C-Dubs in the pits. Fast Cougar stays out as they go almost 3 wide here. And, we have contact. We have contact. Don't worry. Oh, and that allows McNaughty. That allows McNaughty through.
And Cougar.
And Fast Cougar back through. Oh my goodness. Racer 51 loses out big time. As soon as we get the chance, we are going to go back and look at that. McNaughty forcing the issue up the inside. That allows Pyro through. Holy smokes, Pyro. 3-for-1 special. Holy cow.
Love this race.
This is incredible.
This is awesome.
This is incredible.
Wow.
Pyro back up. McNaughty now falls back to 7th.
Wow.
Racer 51 on the inside. It's going to turn to the outside, though. McNaughty's not giving up the position. He is back in line. They are in line. Let's go back real quick and look at this and see what on earth happened into turn 1. So here we are. Racer 51 loses the 2 positions, cuts it in. That pushes Cornbread and Pyro, and that allows McNaughty just to go straight through, and he loses out on all those spots.
Ugh.
Oh no, and something really bad just happened.
Racer.
Oh no. He just has no grip. He just has no grip out there. He's going to have to box, but he stays out. What is he doing? SPC, Pyro in the pits, McNaughty up into P3, and the battle for first is now between Cornbread and Fast Cougar, as Bobajito is also in the pits. They're going to refuel and come out on hards, but did you see how much more fuel Bobajito has than SPC?
I did not see that.
And now Pyro as well. Unless Bobajito was that far ahead in the pits that he's already refueled. But for some reason, he's still in the pits. There he goes. He comes out. SPC comes out ahead of him, as now we got Fast Cougar taking the lead from Cornbread. And it looks like he's got it and makes it stick.
That he does.
So, yeah, I imagine these guys are going to come into the pits, McNaughty as well, and then we're going to see the true order of this race. As Cornbread momentarily comes back into the lead, but it's not going to last. Fast Cougar on the inside. There we go. And I do see the reason I was so confused by the fuel and why Cole came out ahead of Bobagito is that he forgot to refuel. So that is very unfortunate for SPC. You hate to see it. I've done it before, and it's infuriating. As Cornbread stays out, McNaughty stays out. So these are going to be bonus points for laps led. Fast Cougar has one. Cornbread has one. McNaughty, ooh. Cornbread not looking good on fuel. McNaughty not looking good on fuel. Racer 51 still out there. He's sticking to his strategy. Bobagito is...
He's gonna run out of gas.
Yep.
Racer 51's going to run out.
Yeah, it did look that way, didn't it? With those three in the pits and Bobagito only 18 seconds behind, it looks like he is well in the lead, and he has a 10-second gap on Jorge Sr. So it looks like Bobagito is going to command this race as we go back up with Cornbread. Looks like he is going to make it on fuel. McNaughty's tires look great. His fuel doesn't look too good, but his tires look good. Jorge Sr. with the fastest lap of a 139.7. That is incredible for a race lap on mediums. Or is he on softs? Is he doing something crazy? No, he's on mediums. Okay.
He's on mediums.
I was like, wait a minute. Did he go to the soft just to get fastest lap? Because he could do that if he wanted to. And we all saw that a 139 was, that the top qualifying time.
And with this, the way the points are set up and the way Shaggy
Cornbread stays out.
A viable way. That is a viable way.
How? How are these guys staying out?
Cornbread stays out. I am nervous about his fuel. We're going to stay on board just to see if he runs out of fuel. Maybe he's just thinking he needs to spread out from some of the other drivers. Racer 51 in the pits as well. This is going to put Bobagito up into P2, which will become P1. Still 18 seconds behind Cornbread. Jorge Sr. comes out in Jorge Sr. in P3.
Racer in with 1 unit of fuel left. 1% of fuel left.
Incredible. Wade takes P4. Go back on board with Cornbread because, that is low. That is low on fuel.
That's fumes right there.
Yep. He's going to need all the sriracha on his Cornbread to get back to the pits.
Oh, the drama, the excitement.
The excitement. You can almost hear the Drive to Survive music in the background.
Mm-hmm. Right.
As he's going down the hill. You know what? He's not that far off the pace. He's only 0.6 down, and now he's just got to get up this hill. He's still able to give it the beans, full throttle now, up into 5th gear as he is now into the pits. And he timed that perfectly. Still 18 seconds ahead of Bobagito. Now we're on board with Bobagito. How long? He has 0 fuel left. It's going to take a while to fill up that tank. How many positions is he going to lose? I think the real question is Pyro going to come out ahead of Cornbread? That's the real battle right there, is between Pyro and Cornbread as Bobagito goes ahead. Let's go on board with Pyro in P5, who's not alone. He is not alone. He has got McNaughty, C-Dubs, the whole crew's back together. And Cornbread is going to come out of the pits. They are going through turn 1 right now. Wade just gets through. There goes Wade. You can see him in the distance. Is he about to come out ahead of Pyro? Did his long strategy pay off?
Man.
Holy smokes, Cornbread looking like a genius. He's going to have nice, fresh hards pitting well before these other drivers coming out in P4. Holy smokes, Cornbread.
You better boogity though.
You better boogity, because we saw how quickly it can all turn south, as those four
Right.
cars behind would love nothing more but to be able to catch up to Cornbread.
It's a gap on between Bobagito and Jorge.
Bobagito and
That's
Jorge is a 9.1 second gap. Bobagito about to start his 20th lap of the race. Jorge Sr. doing the same, but he's bringing that gap down ever so slightly. Looks like he got a better exit up the hill. No, Bobagito now starting to pull away, and then we have Wade CBR with almost a 5-second front and back to Cornbread. I'm curious. Let's see what our back guys are doing. We got Banana on the mediums, just chilling, hanging out. PHG Root doing the same, kind of in no man's land. Unfortunately, we did see Cole, who was a front runner, make the crucial error of not putting in fuel, which that has allowed Shaggy Doo up into P11 on the mediums. We have Evolved also on the mediums, not far off of Racer 51. Racer 51 is really, that mistake he had at the end of was it lap 18, 17 or 18, really hurt him, because Fast Cougar is the car ahead, but unfortunately it is the car way ahead.
Right,
Almost
right.
8 seconds ahead, as Shaggy can now see these two. So if we can get a nice little battle between Evolved and Racer 51, that could allow Shaggy Doo to make something happen. But I'm going to go back up to this battle because it has yet to disappoint. They have now caught up to Cornbread. Pyro,
Yep.
McNaughty are on Cornbread now. Cornbread feeling all the pressure that he can feel. And you look at that. Oh my goodness. Nothing but Genesis in his mirror. He's got G70 just plastered across his forehead right now.
Right.
And
Get up in there, Pyro.
And we've seen Pyro be patient though, but it doesn't look like he's going to, he pulls out to take the proper line, hoping, and it seems to be working.
Oh,
That Cornbread goes a bit deep. That also has allowed McNaughty to apply a little pressure, as Pyro has to get off the throttle a little bit to be able to not spin Cornbread out as they go into, like I've said many times, my favorite overtaking point. Cornbread goes a bit defensive, just kind of in the middle of the road, not giving a clean line for Pyro to take, but it does allow McNaughty and C-Dubs to really apply the pressure, as it looks like Fast Cougar's fallen off a little bit. McNaughty taking a little sniff up the inside, not quite close enough, and has to just take the better line, carrying a bit more speed into the heavy braking zone as C-Dubs goes to put the move on McNaughty and runs McNaughty a little wide off the track. McNaughty stays back on, C-Dubs tucks back in.
Taking the spot back.
They're not done yet though, as McNaughty runs deep with those dirty
switcheroo.
tires. Switcheroo, and that allows Fast Cougar now to apply the pressure. Oh man, McNaughty is not going to be happy about that. We're going to go back and take a look, see what happened here as we ride on board with C-Dubs. C-Dubs goes for the inside, rightly so, but he understeers off, doesn't leave McNaughty enough room. McNaughty does come back on. C-Dubs allows him through, and they switch back as McNaughty now has the dirty tires, goes too deep on the brakes, and just has to slot back in. But now Fast Cougar is there, but McNaughty able to slot in. So that is hard racing. I mean, that is what racing is. That's a steward decision for sure. But that was good hard racing, and we all know McNaughty, he's got the skill to catch back up and make something happen from it.
this is going to be one hell of a finish.
And look at Cornbread's fuel. I don't know Cornbread got enough fuel. Well, no. Well, maybe he did because I just look up and it's almost the final lap. Like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
And Cornbread, we saw him stretch the fuel tank, but Pyro's got plenty of fuel. He doesn't have to worry at all. He doesn't have to worry at all.
We know if anybody's running VR in this race. I could not imagine how intense this would be if I was running it in VR and being this close for so long with everybody.
I think Pyro runs VR.
Yeah, there's a few drivers. I can't think off the top of my head. But this is going to turn into an epic final lap. I would love to see McNaughty and Cougar to catch back up there. Let's see as oh no, Cornbread with a penalty.
Oh no!
Oh.
Did he just run a little wide somewhere? I want to see where this happened, and then we'll be able to jump right on board for turn 1. And cut the corner just a little bit. Unfortunate.
Well, I don't
As they
know.
come into turn 1. I mean, that was a
penalty on the
pixel.
penalties.
That should be a penalty on the penalties, Papa said. How rude, I say.
Yeah.
How rude indeed. Pyro, is he going to be able to make a move going into the 4th turn? I mean, he doesn't need to. He has to worry.
He just needs to watch C-dubs.
Yep, you're right, Papa. He needs to worry about C-dubs. And Cornbread needs to worry about Fast Cougar. Because I think McNaughty's close enough. We're going to get ourselves a drag race. Unfortunately, I do want to go ahead and see where our race leader is. Yeah. Who's also low on fuel. Looking good.
Jorge closed it down a little.
Jorge closed it down.
Second half, closed it.
They're all kind of just in they just need to finish the race. And then you can see there in the background where it's really going down.
He's low in gas.
Yeah, he is. And with that penalty, it's going to be a long run up the hill.
Big push by C-dubs.
Indeed. I saw. Yes, you're right, Chuck. Good observation there. That gave Pyro a nice little nudge and kind of slowed C-dubs up. How many drivers are we going to see get by here? We go up the hill.
At least 3.
Bobagito, I just have to say, he did win this race with Jorge and Wade not far behind. And there goes Cornbread. 1, 2, 3 positions. Loses out to McNaughty. Doesn't lose out to Fast Cougar. Oh no, McNaughty with a full second penalty!
I don't know. I think Cornbread might have held him down there.
Oh, not enough space was given. That is a rough one. McNaughty not catching any breaks.
Yeah.
As we go back and see Root. Shaggy up to P10, and Root decides to finish in style, to finish in reverse, as only Root can, as he waits for Racer 51
Root way.
and Banana. Oh no, Root! Well, gentlemen, that was a race.
That it was.
Oh my gosh. So here we have it, CBR. We're always hungry. Pole position, clean race.
Always hungry. Yeah.
And the victory.
I love it.
All right. Hey, Chuck, will you read us through our standings here?
Yes, sir. So, first place, our winner, we've got Bobagito from CBR with
Shaggy.
70. With here, second place, we got Jorge Sr. in the Beamer. Third place, Wade from the CBR crew in the Ferrari. Fourth place, leading the charge with all of the most entertaining pack, is Pyro in the G70, followed by PHG C-Dubs, also in the G70. Cornbread in the Mazda Group 4 in P6. P7, we've got Fast Cougar and Papa's favorite, the 650. That's P7. P8, McNaughty in the Lone Huracan. And then P9, we got Evolved once again in the Genesis. P10, Shaggy, the guy who organizes all of this for us, in the Ferrari. P11, we got Cold Trickle, PHG SPC, once again in the Genesis. P12, Racer 51 in the Mazda. P13, Banana in the Beamer. And P14, Root in the Genesis.
Root in the Genesis, finishing in style points. Racer 51, fastest lap. Several drivers laps led. Papa, your thoughts on this race, and do you have a driver of the day for this specific race, this split?
Ooh.
Driver of the split.
Driver of the split. First off, the race incredible. I think there might be a couple issues the stewards are going to have to look at. But overall, the racing, especially with like 4th through 8th, I mean, that was incredible racing, lap after lap. Then Jorge with the early pit, getting off the hards onto the mediums. Look at that game. Finished up there in P2 with that strat. Incredible at that Beamer. Excellent. It was just overall. And I guess for Racer, I'm probably going to have to... Man. I'm probably going to have to go with Jorge.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobagito, a dominating win by 7.5 seconds.
Yeah.
The strat to get Jorge, that after losing all those positions in the first couple laps, stick with that strat. I'm in P2. I'm probably gonna have to give to him. My vote.
Yeah. Do y'all remember where did Wade start? Do you guys remember?
Ooh, I don't remember.
It was further down because he's in the Ferrari. It wasn't in the top 5, I don't think. If anybody in chat remembers where Wade started, let us know. And while we process that, Chuck, let's hear your thoughts and if you have a driver of the split.
My driver of the split has to go for Pyro, for hanging on like he did and playing the mind game, getting in people's mirrors and maintaining patience at the same time. So my driver of the race is going to be or driver of the split is going to be Pyro. It was just
Wade started Q9.
Watching. I agree with Papa on the fact that there's going to be some things that the stewards are going to have to look at. I am not a steward. There are a few things that look to me like it might have been a racing incident. That was just us up here in the booth, casually looking at what just happened versus stewards doing the great service that they do, going frame by frame and really digging into the circumstances surrounding each incident for them to make the final call.
Right on. Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to go, since we got that confirmation that Wade did start in 9th, I'm going to say Wade. Jorge would be my second choice there. But that race was incredible. I love that Jorge did a completely different strategy. He was on the hards. He fell back. Everyone was confused. Why is Jorge in 11th? Said Salamander. And it's because he did a completely alternate strategy. And he finished where he started. Looked great. It was an exciting run. But yeah, I'm going to say Wade. All right. We have one more split, y'all. We have one more split tonight.
One more.
It is going to be split 3. We are going to take a short break. And we'll get Pyro up here in the booth with us. He'll be able to give us some good insight into the race as well. But don't go nowhere. We just need a sip of water, get the new people into the lobby, and we'll be right back.
Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, Victory's in our name. We win together. Rain or shine, PHG forever. Crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PHG forever, crossing the line. Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together. Rain or shine, PHG forever. Crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine, PHG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PHG forever, crossing the line.
Five. Welcome back, everybody. We are here after an exciting and incredibly intense race. I do want to reiterate, y'all, I know that race was intense. I know there was a lot of heated action on the track, but the chat is not the place to do it. You guys can take that up individually on your own DMs or address the stewards as necessary. But please do not put it in the chat, because my
And
chat's
if I can,
yeah.
if I can piggyback off that, T cases, I get it. I think we've all been there. We've had a race where we thought we were done dirty. It's happened to me before, and you lose your cool. Nerves are raw. The adrenaline's still coursing through your veins from an obviously very, very intense race, like you already pointed out. But at the end of the day, just remember, take a deep breath and let the adrenaline come down. We're all friends here,
Indeed.
and we'll let the stewards figure it out in time. We're having fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. But that was an incredible race, and we now have here with us is PHG Pyro, who was in front of the camera quite a bit during that race because you were in a battle the whole time. Pyro, welcome. How are you? And tell us about your race.
Man, thanks for having me join you guys in the booth. But I just want to start out by giving a major shout out to my personal driver of the day, uh, the seniorest of seniors, Mr. Jorge. What an amazing showing! What an amazing strategy! A strategy that I wish I would have done was start on the hards, and maybe it wouldn't worked out as well for me as it did for Jorge because Jorge has such a rapid pace. And I also want to congratulate Mr. Bobagito for a dominant performance here. That was dominant.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, it was an intense race. It was, in the group 4 cars, you have a lot more traction, a lot slower pace, so the racing has potential to be a lot closer. And we got to bear witness to that. We got to see how that affected the race. And I gotta hand it to everyone who stuck it out throughout this race. This was incredible. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of it. This was great.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, you earned your spot there. That is for sure. You definitely did, and you had an insanely good race. And we were talking a little bit, kind of the tactic of trying to get by or trying to work with the car in front of you. You were in the G70 and you had some Mazda 3s all around you. What was that like as far as just kind of being all over the back of one of those Mazda 3s and the frustrations and the benefits of it all?
Oh man, it was extremely frustrating knowing that no matter where I was able to get past, as soon as we hit anywhere where there was a straight, the power of that Mazda was just incredible. And it may seem like I was trying to, put some pressure on Racer 51, but if you go back and look at the footage, you'll see me flashing my lights, trying to tell him, "Hey, I don't want to fight with you. Don't go defensive. I want to work with you to get to the front of the pack." But once I realized, like, you know what, he's going defensive. I don't know what camera angle he does, so maybe he can't see me flashing my lights. I said, you know what, I'll just apply the pressure and hope for the best. And fortunately, I was able to get around him. Unfortunately, another Mazda was able to get around as well. So, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
it was crazy to watch. I can't imagine of what it was like to be a part of it, because it was the three of you fighting each other, and then all of a sudden then you had Fast Cougar and you had McNaughty join in, and it was just nonstop. There was times where I think there was like 4 or 5 position changes in one lap. And
Oh yeah, yeah. Dealing with Racer 51 was like getting in a fight with your older brother. It doesn't matter if you're faster or stronger. There's nothing you could do. He's gonna win.
he's gonna win. I overstand. Yes,
I don't.
yes.
I'm fortunate enough to be the older brother in my situation. So.
See, I'm the youngest in my family, so I had 2 older brothers that
Ooh,
I could never beat.
you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
Indeed.
Yes, I'm the weirdo. I'm the only child, so.
There you go. Yeah.
Spoiled.
I know, right?
Spoiled. Oh man, I can't wait to see this next race. To be in the booth and get to watch as a spectator is
Right.
gonna.
Right?
hopefully it's just exciting. It's going to be less nerve wracking, hopefully, than being a part of the race. Because this, oh man, I can imagine what my heart rate is like.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
good thing I took my Apple Watch off. I'm gonna have to take a trip to the hospital after that one.
Well, real
This one,
quick, before we get started, we'll take a look at what the round looks like. They're about to start qualifying. Just in case you missed the first race, here's what we're doing. This is round 2. Interlagos, 23 laps. Racing hards, racing mediums are required. It's 2 times tire wear. Fuel is times 4, which we saw fuel is a big factor. And they are in the Group 4 cars of their chosen manufacturer. So whatever they chose at the beginning of the season to be their manufacturer, that's what they're in right now. And let's go ahead and hop straight in to qualifying. Pyro, since you just did qualifying, please talk us through what your strategy was in that G70 as far as qualifying goes.
Lose Pyro?
Oh, we may have lost Pyro. In that case, we're going to take a look.
Sorry,
there
I
we
was
go.
muted.
Here we go.
I was speaking to myself. Sorry. Yeah. No, I was getting ready to drink a nice brisk iced tea.
Brisket.
What my strategy was
baby.
my strategy was I noticed everyone, like, if you, well, I pitted first after my first lap. I noticed that everyone was staying out, and you pretty much want to burn as much fuel as possible. But in a race with the fuel consumption so high and the tire wear so low, it's not really going to affect you. You can stay out the whole entire time and not really have to worry about tires. But I came out, did a lap on the mediums, and immediately went into the pits and said, you know what? Simple, just try to go as fast as you can and find someone, get close enough to someone. In my case, it was Shaggy, to just eat up slipstream. And that was, what propelled me forward.
That makes a lot of sense because the slipstream is strong around here. As I have scrolled through, I see Vetterdan slapped my rainbow leopards on the back of his salamander designed livery, as he also has his blue shell on there. Team Corvette looking good. And Iron Fix, we did see him yesterday qualifying in the Audi TT. Seems to be a strong little car around here. I love this livery. Salamander and I gushed about this on Wednesday of just how good this Honda NSX looks. The color changes, and Salamander, being a livery expert, really appreciated some of the techniques he put into there. This one too. This one we actually used in the Salamander used in the thumbnail. Really cool looking Nissan by Strict 9, and we did see in the daily not too long ago that the GTR is a strong car around here. T-Rex arms in the Jurassic Park Alpha, and Captain Howdy in the Nesquik.
Howdy.
Very nice. So it looks like Rick Shear is going to be the first one to give us a flyer. I want to ride on board in his cockpit, if I can find the right button. Actually, let's do the hood cam. Pyro, can you take us through a lap here as we ride on board with Rick Shear?
Absolutely. So what we're looking for on this lap, turn 1, you want to exit. You want to get on the brakes and trail brake down. You want to look for about the 50 board. So look for him to brake about the 50 board, maybe a little after, down into second gear, and you want to cut as much as the tarmac on the right as possible. And if you get that just right, it allows you to stay on the throttle and just ride it flat out. Here, towards the next turn, the next major braking point, there's an escape route before the 50, and you want to look in that direction, either between the 50, either the 50 or in between that and the escape route. You want to be really cautious though, because if you don't get the right rotation, you're going to get a 1 second penalty, and it's going to ruin your lap. Um,
Looks
the
like
tread
he nailed
marks
that
and
double apex there.
yes, right after the apex, there are the double apex. There are these X markings that are like tire marks,
Right.
and they are the perfect breaking point.
Mhm.
But during the two right-handers, there's something that a lot of people miss, and that's in the grass. After the tarmac, there's grass, but in the grass, if you look really closely to it, there's tarmac underneath, and that actually allows you to still catch traction while you're in on that grass.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that's what you want to cut.
Yeah.
And being that these are group 4 cars, the moment that you actually get into that grass, you can mash down and push on the throttle and not have to worry about spinning, and it gives you the perfect marker to where you can continue.
So everybody here doing kind of a different strat. Everybody going ahead and hopping into pits pretty early. Rick Shear did have the fastest lap of a 139.6. Kind of surprised to see everybody hop in the pits quite that early.
Which is,
Speaking of VR2, Pyro, correct me if I'm wrong. You are a fellow VR driver like myself, aren't you?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, tell us a
Absolutely.
little bit about, because we were talking about that up here in the booth when you were in your big pack there. And you might be able to help me and explain to everybody how much more intense it is in VR in a situation like that. Can you kind of walk us through what you were feeling when you were going in those situations?
So the most important thing to remember is, in any race, you want to be as clean as possible. With that being said, the main thing that I would focus on, I would, drift my car to look to see where I am on the track, but you want to pay close attention to the driver in front of you's brake lights, because the last thing I want to do is have to pull over to let someone pass, because if I hit someone, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them the position back. So you want to pay close attention to where they are, and more importantly, you need to remain calm. It's nerve wracking being that close to someone, and you almost have to remind yourself, hey, this is a game. It isn't real life. So yeah, because you don't want to uh, you don't want to let the closeness scare you and slow you down, but you also don't want to give up, any ground you may have to the car in front or the car behind. So in VR, there's just a lot of things to pay attention to. We don't have a delta, so I can't say, hey, the car behind me is 2 tenths down, or the car in front, I'm 0.001 second, you know, away from the car in front. So you really have to be on your P's and Q's and focus up.
Yeah,
I can attest to that.
That's I've only got to use it. I got to use turbos, and it was on Gran Turismo. I've gotten to use VR and iRacing, which was really cool. Yeah, it was definitely an experience. It's funny how accustomed you get to the other little helpers that you have when you're not in VR.
Yeah,
Although,
it makes you real.
yeah,
Yeah, like if for instance, if we have a delta, right? If I had a delta during that race, and the chances of me working with Racer 51 from the beginning are increased, because the moment that I see I'm losing ground to Cornbread, then that stops. The fight stops, and it's more of a, hey, we need to get away from this guy, and we can worry about fighting later. You know, whereas I had to visually see him in my rear view first. And me being in VR is part of the reason why I love the Genesis so much, is
you
because
got that big
it
old.
takes yeah, that screen there, it takes less effort than flicking your eyes or turning your head. I can see it right there in my peripheral.
Yeah, and even in VR too, one of the disadvantages you have versus driving on a screen is that on a screen you don't have to, if you're doing bumper cam, you don't have to turn your head to look at your radar. It's just a flick or to look in your rearview mirror. It's just a flick up or a flick down with your eyeballs. But in VR, especially depending on what kind of car you got, you have to physically turn your head to look at the radar.
Yes. Yes.
Final lap
It's another
qualifying.
challenge.
It can be distracting. Rick Shear with almost a half a second lead on Better Dan.
Team Corvette is looking strong. That is Rick Shear and Vetterdan, P1 and P2. We got Jersey P3 in the Supra. Linus Stern with the slipstream up the hill. I think Jersey, well, who's in front of Vetterdan in the BMW? Is that is
Strict 9.
uh,
That's kept.
Oak.
That's Oak.
PHG Oak might be giving Vetterdan and Jersey a nice tow up the hill for this final lap. We could see an improvement on Vetterdan or Jersey, but half a second is quite a lot. Let's see when this next delta pops up where Vetterdan is. It seems like Jersey's improving a little bit more just behind him. And we get he's down. Is Jersey up? Go ahead.
What I look forward to seeing this race is with the benefits of split 3 being directly after split 1. I look forward to seeing the difference in strategy. As we see now, speed bump up in P6 has already changed to the hard tires.
Okay.
That's something to keep an eye on. More
Yep.
people will be familiar with what the strategy should be and what works. So I look to see how many people start on the hard tires versus, the 2 people that started on the hard tires during split 1.
Indeed.
That's something I would pay close attention to.
Yeah, you're right. Because like Jorge showed how strong that really was. He really did. Now, he probably would have done better had more people done it, because he wouldn't have been just getting clobbered the first few laps as everybody overtook him, and he would have had more drivers driving at his pace on the same tire. But I expect we see Rick, Vetterdan, Jersey. Where do you think the cut is for the hard tires? Because Speed Bump is in P8 currently.
I think it pretty much depends on what your fuel is. Optimal strategy would be to get 10 laps out of it. From my guesstimation, I think that 10 laps would be perfect if your fuel tank lasts that long. I think the biggest part isn't necessarily the tires. I really do think that it's 100% about the fuel. I mean, there is a big difference in lap time between, oh wow, Rick Shear, the only 39 here.
Yep. Papa, can you take us through the standings here real quick before we get started? And
Let's see. We've got Rick Shear at a 39.6 in his Corvette. Right behind him in another Corvette is Vanderdan with a 40.1. Mr. Jersey in his Toyota Supra with 40.3. Mr. Ormond, Porsche, 40.3. Slick in his Ferrari with another 40.3. Tight times. Look at these times, you guys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where was I? Ecstasy in the McLaren with 40.4. Iron Fix in the Audi with 40.5. Speed Bump in the Honda with 40.6. P8. And then in P9.
Sorry. That's my cue.
We have Oak in the BMW with a 40.8. Strychnine in the GTR with a 40.8. We got Captain Howdy and another McLaren, 40.0. 41.0, sorry, and T-Rex with 41.0.
Yeah.
That is some tight times.
I love this. I love it.
Now I think is the perfect time for us to just throw this out there. But that NSX is inaccurate. This is horrible. This is so disappointing. And I would have to say Team Corvette with a very, very strong showing here.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
strong.
I
And
agree.
I was going to say,
Good drivers.
the main reason we're seeing how close this all is because of how Shaggy has created this league to where you qualify in the car combo track each week to determine your split. So you're always it's always going to be tight. And every split is going to be tight because it's all, it's 12 to 15 people who qualified roughly the same. So that's when I missed my cue. I was over here looking at where everybody qualified during the week to see who improved and who didn't, and it was cool to see, the drivers who were able to get into 39s. One of them did, which were Rick Shear, but some of the others, did improved, or some fell short, and then there's some drivers who weren't able to make it. Really cool to see how tight this all is.
I mean, yeah, P3 and P4, we're talking 2,000th of a second between a Toyota and a Porsche. It's just,
That, my friends, is the definition of tight. But
yeah,
one thing that's going to be the major decider on this race is how each car handles their fuel consumption, or rather,
Yep.
how the drivers handle their fuel consumption.
And was that something you were taking into account, or were you driving, kind of just driving, and you're going to refuel when you refuel, or were you fuel mapping, or at any point trying to save fuel?
There's the big thing that maybe I should have been more focused on fuel mapping to get more out of my medium tires, but there was such a big fight going up ahead, and I wanted out.
Mm.
I wanted out of that thing.
All right. We're about to get this party started. We got a nice close-up of that Corvette. PHG Rick Shear going with the purple, looking fly. Then we got, again, Vetterdan in the other Corvette. Jersey in the Supra. Then we got the Porsche of Mr. Ormond. As here we go, and it's off up into turn one. It seems like everybody's spread out pretty good. Nothing too crazy. Actually,
Surprisingly,
really
yeah,
spread
surprisingly, yeah, surprisingly, turn one here is infamous for being a catastrophe. But I think the spread is far enough so that turn one wouldn't be an issue in a race like this. Something that McNaughty actually pointed out at the start of the previous race was good luck on turn one.
Right.
It almost seems as if he qualified where he did purposely to avoid, the perceived threat that there would be a racing incident, which fortunately
Don't you know-
did not happen.
We did
Don't
see.
you know, Pyro, the race is won and lost in turn one. Everybody
Everybody knows.
Oh,
Ormond,
yeah.
we didn't see what happened, but Mr. Ormond did put a move onto Jersey. So Mr. Ormond is up into P3, bumping Jersey down to P4. Looks like Shear and Vetterdan are doing just fine, and then it's starting to tighten up as we enter into this technical sector. Further back,
Jersey's on the
as
hards.
Estes, and that would make sense why Jersey fell back. If Jersey's on the hards,
Right.
he's going Jorge Senior strategy, as looks like Estes and Slick all over each other. What is Slick is also on the hards, so we have a few drivers in the top 5 opt for the hard tires, and it looks like we have a battle further back as well. As they apply the pressure, SSC going up almost 3 wide here as we see the Audi TT. SSC late on the brakes, keeps his nose in it, stays on the track, but Slick Rick is able to... No, SSC keeps his foot down, and holy smokes. That was amazing. And now that's allowing Iron Fix to put a little bit of pressure on Slick Rick. Is Iron Fix going to get the move done late on the brakes? Slick might lose 2 positions here as Iron Fix. Yes, surely he gets it done. Keeps it in front. That little Audi TT trying its hardest against the Ferrari. I'm going to go back and I don't even remember who it was. It was Estes. Let's see what happened here. Be right on board. Estes down and a minor contact, nothing big. And look, he's just able to get on the power harder than Slick Rick is, and just has the confidence in that McLaren, and that is what allows Iron Fix to come in and have something to say about it. But it looks like Slick has gotten back in front of Iron Fix. This seems to be the battle on track at the moment, and speed bump that has allowed speed bump. Oh, as Iron Fix runs wide,
he's going off.
understeer.
Oh, no.
Hold on.
That's a lot of positions. That is 1, 2, oh, and a penalty to add insult to injury.
no.
This is gonna cause them to go very tight up here. And is that Estes and Strict 9 now getting through? And that, oh my goodness, we're going to go back and take a look at this once we see what happens if everybody sorts it out cleanly. Strict 9 gets
What happened
ahead.
to Estes? Why is he back here, too?
Oh, we didn't see. Let's see if we can get some type of clarification. Here they all are. Here's Estes. He's already back there as... Here's where Iron Fix goes off. So Estes had fallen back already prior to when that happened.
Yeah, he did. Interesting. Okay.
You know, one thing that's really important around that final turn is to make sure you get enough rotation before you get in the throttle. Or else, you saw there, you'll end up in the grass, and you know, God forbid someone goes off in front of you, and you're in their slipstream. You're gonna follow them through. This is not the place to mistake your rotation.
And this has worked out great for Speed Bump and Oak, and now Estes trying to fight back to get some position. Allowing all those drivers through, it is going to hurt. Who is that? Strict 9 with the... No, Iron Fix with the penalty back there. We saw how damaging the penalty is around here. It's at least 2 positions if people are close. But again, the battle for P6 seems to be the exciting battle in both races so far. And that's split 1 and this is split 3. As these racing hard drivers, Speed Bump racing hard, Oak racing hard, Estes on the mediums. Estes has to be frustrated as he sends it up the inside, late on the brakes. No, he's not able to get the move done. He's going to have to wait another time, but somehow Oak, I don't know how, but Oak gets through there. And how did he find his way through? Speed Bump early on the brakes. Oak, with a little bump there. It did look like they were a bit early on the brakes, but that allows Oak through. And that's going to be up to the stewards to decide what needs to happen.
You know,
that's
you hate to lose a position that way. Jorge in the chat saying, "Let's go BMW." I'll hide my car biases.
Yes, and now Strict 9 trying to make a move on Estes in the Nissan, the all-wheel drive, trying to get the traction down as Estes runs wide, gets in the dirt, but able to keep it. Oh no, that gives a penalty for Estes. That's gonna hurt. That's P8 gone, looking like he could fall down to P11 with that penalty based on the cars that are around him. And he is on the mediums. The more he gets stuck in these hard tire runners, it's just going to eat into his overall race. I don't like seeing it. And that does allow Strict 9 ahead. Does it allow Iron Fix? No.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You know who really doesn't like seeing it? The rest of his teammates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Is that right,
Lights
Pop?
there by Iron Fix.
And there goes Iron Fix making the move. He makes the move on Estes as well. So that is Iron Fix ultimately up into P9. We're going to go up and take a look, see what's happening here. Looks like Rick and Vetterdan working well together on the racing mediums. And Mr. Ormond, surprisingly, in the Cayman, applying the pressure now. It's not
Keeping them honest.
easy sailing, as believe we did say Jersey is on the hards and in P4. So it is looking good for Jersey. This could be a positive. Perhaps he can jump Vetterdan when it comes time for all the pit strategies to happen.
Yep.
Slick Rick in no man's land with the hard tires. Then we have Oak, and then the fun begins. So Speed Bump leading the way. Ecstasy again trying to get through on the mediums. He desperately wants to get by these hard tire runners, but Jersey is so far ahead, and Jersey is the lead hard tire runner.
You know, I wonder if we're going to start seeing some desperation from the guys that are already in the medium tires that are far away from the pack, that are heading in the back. I wonder if we're going to start to see them force moves, you know, to kind of hurry up and get. If you look, there's a 15-second, you know, a gap between P9, Ecstasy, and Rick Shear.
They're going 3 wide. Hold on 1 second. No, he cuts back in 2 wide with Strict 9 and Iron Fix. And Strict 9 able to get ahead on the inside of Iron Fix. Iron Fix applying the pressure back. It's a long run down into turn 4. I imagine Iron Fix will want to go aggressive. Yes, already on the inside, but he is at a disadvantage being in a front-wheel drive car. Late on the brakes. He gets to the apex first. On the throttle. Don't want to understeer, but look, you can see, places his car perfectly, because all Strict 9 could do was give him a bump.
Slide Joe.
All he could do was give him a bump. And now he's applying the pressure onto Speed Bump. And he's going to go. No, he thinks about it. Yes, he gets it. He's on it. But now he's on the outside. Speed Bump in the MR. No.
He's trying to switcheroo.
He wants to switcheroo. It's so difficult to do here, especially in an FF car. Trying to get on the throttle early only causes understeer, as we saw in the last race. And it looks like Iron Fix is just going to have to settle in unless he can get a run here.
Oh, no, he's wide.
He's wide. Is that going to be a penalty?
No, I don't think there's going to be a penalty there, but, you know, he should be grateful that it didn't happen that way.
And now that's allowed Strict 9. Look at that pressure. Strict 9 is now able to apply, and Strict 9 still has Ecstasy to worry about. Wow, that was an exciting battle right there. Just seeing how tight it is. And they're just scrapping for points. Scrapping for points. Well, Ecstasy scrapping for a lot of points because being on the alternate strategy as Speed Bump. Oh! Not much space was given.
Oh my goodness.
I want to see what happens there with Speed Bump, but we need to see what happens as they go in, because that brought Captain Howdy into the party as well. Let's get through turn 4 here as people run wide. That's a big run wide from Ecstasy. They're not giving us a chance to breathe. I can't imagine their heart rates right now. I cannot imagine their heart rates right now. Let's see if we can go back and see this here. I want to know what exactly happened. So we got Iron Fix. Contact up there against Speed Bump, which is what allows Strict 9, but Strict 9 isn't left any room. And that forces Ecstasy out wide and Speed Bump. It's just an old sandwich right there, which is what allowed Captain Howdy to get through. So now we have Speed Bump in P9, Captain Howdy P10, Ecstasy P8, Strict 9 P7, and look at the gap now that Iron Fix has. I mean, he's now 2 seconds ahead of Strict 9. That couldn't have worked out any better, but I do see he is on the mediums. I did not realize, as Strict 9 is now, he's done with these hards. T-Rex is done with the hards. And it's now these hard runners along with Ecstasy on the mediums, and Iron Fix also on the mediums. Oh, that's
Thought I saw that coming. Yep.
Ecstasy can't get a break with a 1.5 second penalty, and Speed Bump's going to go ahead and add insult to injury. They're both going to go for it. Only Speed Bump able to get through, but Ecstasy not giving up. He's staying in it. Speed Bump is going to have the inside here. And all the while, Captain Howdy is thinking, I don't need to do anything. I've got a position already once that penalty is served. So we got 2 McLarens and an NSX. And there we go. There's Speed Bump through. Captain Howdy applying pressure. But I think he's going to be smart and be patient. Let these two continue to squabble. As it looks like we had a little bit of contact. And that is Captain Howdy through. I want to see what happened there.
You know, looking up front, I think Vetter Dan and Rick Shear might be working together here. I mean, they are teammates in Chevy. So I expect them to do a lot of pulling away and maybe pit, at the last moment.
Indeed, as we see Jersey going in, being on the hards. And I would imagine that you are correct. And oh my goodness, thank you, Jeff Gordon. Wow, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. That is incredible. And I am flattered, sir. I will agree with you. I 100% think Rick Shear and Vetter Dan are working together. Because they are teammates, both within PHG and in Team Chevrolet. And we see this in F1 all the time, Vetter Dan's job right now is don't let Mr. Ormond by. That is Vetter Dan's job. Keep the pace, hold on, don't let Mr. Ormond get through, and y'all can work together and have a beautiful Chevy 1-2.
Protect Rick Shear as much as possible.
Uh-huh.
I believe I'm saying this, but go Chevy.
I can't believe you said that either. That was a genuine laugh right there. That caught me off guard. I did not expect it, but Mr. Ormond is applying the pressure. He is applying the pressure to Vetter Dan.
Easily in the slip.
Easily in the slip, and we'll go on to our fun little chase cam here. Let's see how he does it. These are two very different cars, the Cayman and the Corvette.
It's been a minute since I've driven the Cayman.
Same.
And the Vet, to be honest.
The
It
group
hasn't been really strong these last couple of go arounds.
No. The Group 4 Corvette and the Group 4 Porsche I don't drive much, but the Group 3 of each I drive quite a bit, and you can see how much better Mr. Ormond was able to take turn 4 than Vetter Dan. He just, that was 2 car lengths he got in one corner. So it's, what I imagine is the Porsche is much better in this middle sector. Unfortunately, there's only one tight sector and 2 flat out sectors. And that's what we're seeing here is Mr. Ormond is applying the pressure. The gap up ahead is only 1.8 seconds to Rick Shear, but Mr. Ormond well in the slipstream, holding on in that gorgeous Gulf livery. You gotta love it.
I say it all the time. Gulf liveries look outstanding no matter what car.
Doesn't matter. There's a reason I use those colors.
My real question here is, how much is the difference of power between the Chevy and the Porsche here? Are we going to get to see an overtake or potential side-by-side on the straight? That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the action. Let's see what we get coming up this way.
It looks like tire wear is better on the Porsche, and Vetter Dan goes slightly defensive, decides to cut back onto the racing line. Being patient, Mr. Ormond, getting a much better run. He got, oh my goodness, that was textbook by Mr. Ormond, and Vetter Dan was caught off foot there, and now look at that. He's actually going to work with him.
Oh, wow. that's also a great strategy as well. Score as much points as you can, or push yourself further from the pack, even though there's almost a 20-second difference. But we have to remember that these guys have not yet pitted, so
They
they
haven't.
still have to go in. Oh, they're side by side.
They're side by side now. You're right, and
Oh,
they
they're
haven't
side by side.
pitted. And I was going to agree with you as Mr. I mean, around the outside, could that have been any easier? I don't
Not
think
at all.
it could have been. Hold on. Hold up. Let's see that again. I pressed the wrong buttons. I meant to press V and I pressed C. My bad, y'all. Anyways, I was gonna say, I think Mr. Ormond should use the speed of the Corvette and just stay behind on these straights. But look at this. He's now closer to Rick Shear than Vetterdan ever was. Vetterdan at the most was 1.7 seconds. Mr. Ormond now at 1.5 seconds.
Hey,
So his pace is better than Vetterdan.
You're a poet, you don't know it.
That's
Gentlemen, we are a little bit more than halfway through this race, and they have yet to pit. We still have a lot of action to go.
Indeed.
Lots of action to go.
All right, I'm gonna go check on what was the big battle, so we had people pit, and while we were concentrated on those front runners, everybody seems to have boxed, and wow, I was not expecting them to be as spread out.
Oh wow!
So it's gonna
Mr.
be
Armand the fastest lap.
Yep. So Captain Howdy back in P12, he has pitted, and so has T-Rex Arms. So that's the battle for hashtag not last. So I guess the battle is still up here at the front. So we'll go back to the front as we see Vetterdan trying to stay with Mr. Ormond. And look, Rick Shear heard us talking. He was like, okay, you need me to go faster? I'll go faster.
Time to go.
You gotta love it.
Let's go faster. Let's go faster.
As a semi-okay driver, like, I'm pushing. And then there's the drivers who are like, oh, do you need me to go faster? I'll go faster. It's like, I'm going as fast as I can all the time.
I wonder if Rick Shear was actually saving fuel.
Oh, you think?
He could. There's definitely a possibility there. Can we take a look at his fuel?
Yep, let's take a look as Vetterdan is applying the pressure. Rick Shear, a little over a quarter of the tank. Ormond right at a quarter. And Vetterdan with the best fuel of all. So maybe the two of them were... I think you're right. You're right, Pyro, 100%. The two of them were fuel saving in a sense compared to what Mr. Ormond does as Oak comes in off the hards.
I had a feeling. There was a strong feeling there.
Yeah, that was a good feeling. Trust Pyro's gut, y'all. That's the lesson learned. If Pyro's gut's telling you something, you should listen. And thank you, Gear Smack Music. Appreciate you stopping by the channel. Be sure to tune in to Salamander tomorrow. We'll be having 3 races. We will be having splits 2, 4, and 5 tomorrow. Vetterdan really putting the pressure now. Less than half a second as they come onto the straight. What lap are you thinking they pit?
I expect Rick Shear to do 1 lap more than Vetterdan and Mr. Armand, but I would also suggest to Wrench, no, you shouldn't. But if you do, play as little money as possible because chances are horrible for a lot of them.
Indeed. Indeed. Yep, and
The poor man's and that's for a reason.
Vetterdan is, man, applying the pressure. 3 good looking liveries here with Rick Shear in the front, but Better than applying the pressure. Mr. Ormond. Wonder if, as he goes purple against Mr. Ormond, coming down the hill, going up.
You know, and
yeah, go ahead.
that's likely courtesy of the slip.
Yep.
Because he's very close and he's well within there. I wonder if we'll get a 39 during the race. If I'm not mistaken, did anyone run a Jersey with the fastest lap?
Jersey.
That was.
Yeah, I'd watch where he comes up. At least top 3. Yeah.
Yep. I know in your race, Pyro, we had a 39 as the fastest lap. And
I ran a 39. We might have to, we may have to take a look at that to see. Because I for sure ran a 39 there as well.
yeah, we had a couple 39s. We only had one 39 in qualifying for this race. So I think if anybody runs a 39 in the race, that's going to be really impressive. Whereas, you know, everyone was in the 39s in y'all's race, it seemed like. They stay out.
It's pretty much a must. 39.5. Wow. Unfortunately, being in VR, I don't get to see, you know, what the fastest lap is. I only know if I happen to, you know, see a purple.
Better than not giving up at all. Relentless. Jersey still with the fastest lap. These guys still left to pit. Let's go see what's going on. Jersey in no man's land on the mediums. Plenty of fuel. He's going till the end. Yeah, Papa, I think you're right. It's going to be... Oh, as Ecstasy goes into the pits with no fuel left. We saw that a few times in the last race. Yes, T-Rex has pit, Stiggy. Jersey coming across the line. Yeah, go ahead, Pyro.
Seeing Jersey be 44 seconds behind Rick Shear, you know, I wonder how much time will be left, what the gap will be between them, you know, coming out of the pits.
Yeah, it'll still be pretty big. The pit loss wasn't that huge.
Yeah, that's something we really need to pay attention to.
Because even Better Dan is well, I think, well outside the pit window. The three of these drivers, they didn't squabble too much. It was pretty civil, Mr. Ormond getting past Better Dan. So I think that I want to say the top three's locked up as far as these three drivers, the order of which is yet to be seen because we're going to see how they do on the hard tires. We've already seen that Mr. Ormond is way lower on fuel. His pit stop is going to take longer because he's going to have to take more fuel. I could see Better Dan leapfrogging Mr. Ormond in the pits just on fuel alone.
And that would play out into a wonderful strategy by Better Dan there. Like, you know, that things like that come with experience in racing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just excited to see how this thing will pan out. You know, them being so close to Rick Shear still, you know, they're both within 2 seconds of Rick Shear. Rick Shear going purple there. You know, anything could happen. They're still at the point where anything can happen. Now, I'd hate to sound cliche, but that's just the reality. That, you know.
Yeah, it is. And Rick Shear just went purple as well as he is starting to run low on fuel. So he's going to probably steal that fastest lap away. And that's something that Shaggy has given us in Season 1 in the St. Jude charity races. And now in Season 2, it comes down to the last lap every time. It might not always be for the win, but it's for something. Comes down to the last lap because there's not just one strategy. We got a huge mix of cars, a huge mix of talent, and it just makes for some great racing.
I think, you know, all the viewers should give a big thanks to Shaggy, for being able to put up, you know, these kind of races. But all of the racers should punt him for putting up these nail biters and doing it to us week in and week out.
And there goes Mr. Ormond.
Right.
Mr. Ormond in the pits. He could not keep going on fuel. That's going to allow Shaggy, we were just talking about Shaggy. That's going to allow Better Dan and Rick Shear to do another lap. Better Dan, the better of the two on fuel. but he's 2.1 seconds. Let's see where Iron Fix is going to be. He's going to come around. Is he going to come out ahead? No, he has to pit as well. So here's where we were saying the nail biter. Wait a minute. Jersey's going to jump him.
Yeah, we have Shaggy pointing out that this was
That's what I'm saying.
that this was an undercut. The problem with this being an undercut is he's doing one extra one. You know, he's going to be on the hard tires, and they're still on fairly healthy medium tires. So his outlap's not going to be able to match this. I predict they'll come out well ahead of him.
Yep, you're right. 9 seconds, 8 seconds ahead of Jersey for Mr. Ormond and Jersey. Jersey trying the mega undercut, but Mr. Ormond, like you were just saying, is he going to 37 seconds if they pit now? I think you are correct, Pyro. I think the overcut in this scenario is the way to go, but Jersey had a really good undercut to get back up into P4, but he started P3. It was Mr. Ormond that overtook him, so it seems like the overcut is stronger here.
Yeah, definitely. You get as many laps as possible on those medium tires. They're the best tire by far. So you expect to see people want to spend as much time on them as they could. And having to hit a lap early, I don't see that being beneficial.
We're going to see it here. If Vetterdan takes the lead, that'll be the ultimate showing because he is the last to pit. He did better on fuel than Rick Shear. He's going to get one more lap, and we're going to see if everything we've said is correct, as Mr. Ormond is going to... It looks like Rick Shear only needed just a little bit of fuel. We're going to see him come out. Oh, no, he's going to come out ahead. It looks like he is going to come out ahead of Mr. Ormond just barely. 7-6. Oh, my goodness.
And you know what? I predict that there's going to be a big fight made potentially between Vetterdan and Rick Shear. That's ultimately who the race is going to come down to. Because when Vetterdan pits, he'll be done spent an extra lap on the medium tires, on the faster tires, and there's a second maybe a second and a half difference in the soft and in hard. I mean the medium in hard tire. So this is something to pay close attention to, is where Vetterdan comes out the pit.
And as Vetterdan goes into the pits, he's going to have to take fuel. He's going to have to take less fuel, though, so it'll be a shorter pit stop.
Could we come back? There looks to be a big fight around P10, around the back of the pack.
Yep.
There's a long trail there going there.
Yep, Iron Fix, Ecstasy. So we got Ecstasy, Iron Fix, Oak, T-Rex, Captain Howdy. So the battle for P8 is on. I really want to know. We'll kind of see as they come around here. It's looking like Rick Shear going through turns 1 and 2, the Senna S's. And oh my goodness, he's going to be closer than he was. He's definitely got Mr. Ormond.
And he jumped Mr. Ormond in the pits.
By 2 seconds. So now the battle... yeah, go.
And that strategy there shows the difference between A drivers and A pluses. That right there. That little bit where Mr. Ormond was faster for the most part, but the strategy just worked out better for Vetterdan.
And Mr. Ormond has a penalty here.
No.
Shouldn't hurt him as far as Jersey goes, but it's definitely going to make that fight for the P2 very difficult. Let's go back to our battle back here for P8. Speed bump now with the penalty is definitely going to allow it to become the battle for P7 over the battle of P8. T-Rex
One thing we've seen I believe, because I wasn't able to notice to see it anyway, but I think there's more penalties in this one so far than the entirety of the last race.
There were less penalties, but there was a lot more incidents.
Contact.
Yeah, there was more offs as we see T-Rex arms go off, and not from contact, but just looking like trying to give space. But he now has a penalty. Let's see if we can go back once these two finish battling and see exactly what happened, why he got that penalty. As they come around here. Looks like he just goes a bit too deep.
Off to the right?
Yep.
Yes, off to the right.
He was eager to get on the throttle because he had the threat of Oak behind him. And unfortunately, that cost him a big penalty. Definitely the position. And now he has Iron Fix and Ecstasy now plowing through, ready to make the move. Ecstasy going up the inside, or our Iron Fix going up the inside. Ecstasy just behind. Iron Fix gets the moves done, almost runs too wide. Now Ecstasy trying to push it around the outside. Unfortunately, unable to carry the speed there, but applying the pressure. And now is going to make the move up the inside. Pretty easy to do as long as you can get on the power, but we do know the Alpha is a stable car, and he is able to get back on the throttle, no problems. Woo!
We're down into what I like to call the tricky bit.
The tricky bit, indeed. As Iron Fix now pulling away. Ecstasy just has not had a good race. Iron Fix goes a little deep. T-Rex Arms goes a little deep. That's going to allow Ecstasy through, but T-Rex Arms will have the inside line here, which then turns to the outside. So if you can't make it stick, no, he does. That tiny little car able to get it rotated around, but Ecstasy is not done. Ecstasy will not give up. He does not want to finish last. We know Ecstasy, and we know where he's capable of finishing, but he pushes too hard and runs deep. That's going to lose him a lot of time. Growing impatient, T-Rex now applying the pressure. He doesn't have to worry about Ecstasy. All he has to worry about is Iron Fix in front of him. Can he get into the top 10 as they approach the start of lap 21?
Way to go.
And sends it. No, T-Rex Arms fights back. Oh, very nicely done. Iron Fix up into P10. Let's see that again. We see here Iron Fix goes defensive, and it's T-Rex Arms trying to fight around the outside. Iron Fix closing the door and keeping in front. Very nicely done by the two drivers. And it looks like things have calmed down between them. We'll go up here with Speed Bump and Captain Howdy. See how they're faring. I do love that kind of Alpine Nesquik livery we got going on there by Captain Howdy.
They appear to just be cruising along. It doesn't seem...
No, like a real battle. Do you think Mr. Ormond has put any pressure on Vetterdan? No, he has not. 1.7 seconds. Vetterdan almost 3 seconds. Yes, now 3 seconds behind Rick Shear as we start the penultimate lap. And it's looking real purty for Rick Shear out there. Plenty of fuel. We did see in your race, Pyro, fuel was a huge factor. It was nerve-wracking. And look at Jersey lurking in the background, trying to make something happen. Now 2.3 seconds behind Mr. Ormond. He is on the quicker compound, but those tires are not looking too great. What do you think the odds of him catching Mr. Ormond are there, Papa?
I don't know. It's going to be hard. It's actually kind of weird to see that his left front is wearing out versus his right front.
Yeah. There's a...
I believe...
Yeah.
He pit on the 8th lap.
Yeah. He pit real early.
Yeah, and he may have overfueled for what I'm seeing from C turbo, but you know, the still those mediums are going to be a lot faster. Even though they're worn, they should be a lot faster than the hards that Mr. Oman is on. So I think Mr. Oman. Then again, I don't see him making up 2 seconds in one lap. So
But
you
look,
know, if what he should really be focused on is to make sure that Jersey doesn't get within slipstream. Because if
indeed.
he does, then there's going to be a problem.
And look how much more fuel Ormond has than Vetterdan. Ormond has closed the gap to Vetterdan. However, Vetterdan is in a much lighter Corvette. Looks like Rick Shear is safe, but Ormond is applying a lot of pressure. Real quick, I'm just going to scroll through, make sure we don't have any tighter battles to tend to. As we do see the battle continue between Iron Fix and T-Rex Arms. The battle for P10 is alive and well, and unfortunately SSC has the best view in the house for it. As now Iron Fix back ahead of T-Rex Arms. They go down into turn 1. Heavy on the brakes. We got FR versus MR. Now, and
wow.
T-Rex
Wow,
Arms,
what a-
beautifully
wow.
done. Very clean
Power moves.
driving. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to make sure they get through turn 4 just fine. It looks like they're going to. We're going to go back. I want to see that again because that was just super clean driving. So we ride on board with T-Rex Arm. He's going to take the outside later on the brakes, off the brakes, heavy on the throttle, confident that the car has grip. And he made that look so easy.
Wow.
That was impressive.
Right?
That was
That turned
very
out perfect.
impressive.
Here we go. Our
Here we go.
leader, Rick
Rick
Shear,
Shear.
making it look easy. Leading the whole race, virtually minus some pit stop action. And there he goes.
1-2.
Vetterdan. Oh, Ormond had closed the gap by quite a bit. Then we have Jersey P4 coming up the hill. Slick, Rick, and P5. I don't know if his name's Rick. I just said that because it rhymes. Then we got Strychnine and P6.
Speed bump coming out in P7.
Yep, with Captain Howdy and Kevin. PHG Oak not too far behind. And then here it is, the real battle. T-Rex Arms claiming the last spot in the top 10. T-Rex Arms, Iron Fix, Ecstasy. Woo! Let's go!
Wow.
PHG World Series, baby!
Anything.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Pole position, clean race. Chuck, you want to read us through this?
I would love to, T-Case. So in P1 we have Rick Shear in the Corvette, and right behind him is Vetterdan, as also in a Corvette. In P3 we've got Mr. Ormonde in the Porsche. In P4 we've got Jersey in the Supra. P5 we've got Slick, fellow VR player as well, in the Ferrari. P6 we've got Strychnine in the GTR. P7 we've got Speed Bump in the NSX. In 8th we have Captain Howdy in the McLaren. And in P9 we have Mr. Naranjo. Who did we say that was again?
PHG Oak.
Oak.
Oak, okay. He was in the BMW. T-Rex Arms with an outstanding drive in the 4C, picking up the 10th spot. In 11th place, we've got Iron Fix in the Audi. And in 12th, we have Ecstasy in the McLaren. And I'm very happy to see, I got to say, everybody knows I'm a Ford guy, but my favorite are American cars in general. So I'm happy to see an American manufacturer taking P1 and P2. And if anybody knows anything about me, Porsche is my favorite import manufacturer, or my favorite European manufacturer. So this race made me smile. Some of my favorite cars ended up in the filling out the podium.
Yeah, incredible. It was awesome to have a top split driver who had just done the race in here. Pyro, you gave us excellent insight, man. I'm going to start with you as far as who do you think your driver of the split was, and any overall thoughts about the race?
I'm gonna have to be honest here. The same way I you know, uh, congratulated Boba Dito for putting up a dominant performance. My driver of the first one had to be, to me, Jorge. I think this race, it clearly is Rick Shear. He just dominated the race. There was no threat to him whatsoever. I can't find a way to justify anyone else. I mean, amazing showing by Armande. Great utilization of strategy by Vetterdan, but I can't see anyone other than Rick Shear taking it.
Right on. Mustang Chuck, how about you?
I'm gonna have to go with Pyro on this one, with Rick Shear on his excellent strategy calls and everything like that. Congratulations to Team Chevrolet in this one in general, just working together, and no doubt that they talked about what their strategy was going to be so that they can maximize points for their team. But since Rick Shear obviously had a better grasp on the strategy calls and everything like that, if it was between Vetterdan and Rick Shear, but since Rick Shear pulled out the win, it's going to have to be him as a pick for me.
Alrighty, and Papa, we'll go to you.
I'm going to go with Mr. Ormond. I think he did a great job with that Porsche, keeping up the beds.
Yep.
Jersey with the fast lap. I thought he was in on the Jorge strat, as he called it. I thought he was going to be a little bit closer, but he was stuck no man's land for a lot of that race with no help.
Yeah.
The slip or with a bump. So
yeah,
he did good too. But I'm gonna give my vote to Mr. Ormond.
That's a really good point. And Mr. Ormond did make the big overtake, at the beginning of the race and kind of secure that. And at one point take P2. And this is why I'm going to go with Vetterdan, is because he didn't really fight Mr. Ormond, because he knew if he just played it cool, did his thing, he went extra long. He didn't out-qualify Rick. He accepted Rick was going to, take the win, and he played the smart choice. He got overtaken, ran a lot of that race in P3, and but ultimately went the longest of anybody on those mediums and finished there in P2. So I'm going to say Vetterdan for this race.
Shaggy proposed Mr. Cole Trickle proposed a great question. Is there a failure of the day?
Minus 5 points for the failure instead of plus 5 points for the failure.
And you know what? I'm gonna say no, there wasn't.
You go.
Single racer on track.
Well
regardless if they made a very bad blunder, like forgetting to refuel, they put up a valid effort.
Indeed.
Yeah, we've all been there. We've all had brain farts like that.
Indeed. So. Well said, guys. Well said.
Yeah. I mean, even with the mistake he did, he still put up a great effort. And didn't he qualify in second, P2?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
He had he had a solid lap, and he had it locked up. It was looking good, and it's it's something we've all done, and it sucks. It sucks when it happens. But I mean, everybody, you're right, Pyro. Everybody did a great job today. We were treated to 2 excellent races, and let me make sure y'all know that tomorrow we have 3 excellent races, going to be incredible. I can't wait. I'm going to be occupied for most of the day. I got a buddy actually flying in right now. I'm going to pick him up from the airport here in a little bit. But I won't be able. That's why I will not be in the booth. But we're going to have Salamander and can you guys remind me who else is going to be in the booth tomorrow?
Oak. And
Slow-Mo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oak and Slow-Mo. Yeah. Right. So we got awesome guys. Poppy, you're going to be racing tomorrow.
First race, yep.
First race. We got a lot going. If y'all want to know where to see this, how to find it, what's going on with the PHG World Series, it is pinned in the chat. It's also in the description below, and there's also in the description you'll find Mustang Chuck and PHG Pyro's channel. So go check them out if you haven't done so already. All in the description. I love doing this, guys. I love being a part of PHG. I've really learned and enjoyed just doing more than just daily races and just being part of a community, doing these broadcasts, commentating, getting to know y'all. It's been fantastic. Before we close out, I'll let each of y'all, say a thing. We'll start with you, Chuck.
Well, I just got to tag right along with you, TKs. It's been a great community, and it's a great group of people. It's a fun time. I was very hesitant and trepidatious, if that's even a word, about coming up here in the booth. I think I've said it before, but it's like drinking beer with a bunch of your buddies. And speaking of drinking beer with a bunch of your buddies, talking about racing, some of the people in the chat were saying they could hear me cracking open a beer. And I have to say that, and give a public shout out here, that is because of our good friend here, T-Case. I did not have access to a decent microphone, and you all may have noticed in previous broadcasts, but T-Case was kind enough to send me an old microphone that he does not use anymore, and that has brought you better quality audio from my end. So, many thanks to T-Case once again for that. It's much appreciated, my friend.
Absolutely. Happy to do it, and glad you got over a little bit of fear and nervousness of getting in here and seeing that it is just hanging out with your buds and watching racing. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Pyro, you have added a great element to this as well. Thank you for being here. I'll let you say any closing remarks.
Thank you for having me, right? But I wanna let everyone know, right? Everyone that's participating in these following 3 races tomorrow, you guys better be in your A game, because you have to put up a great race. This is like doing stand-up comedy and having to go after Dave Chappelle. We had 2 phenomenal races, so it's on you guys. Second split, to hold it. We're passing the torch to you guys for tomorrow, so
Absolutely.
good luck. You have to live up to this. This was an amazing night of racing, and I hope it weighs. I hope you guys can't get any rest thinking about this. This is tough. This is going to be intense tomorrow.
Indeed. Yes, exactly. And from what we saw last week, that's exactly what's going to happen. Shaggy has these set up in a way that it's going to be good, tight racing every time. And I love to see it. Thank you for being here, Pyro. And of course, we couldn't close out without talking to the proprietor of PHG, Mr. Papa himself. We'll let you close it out. Proprietor Papa.
I'm going to go a little bit bigger. Yes, we had great races tonight, and I appreciate all the drivers, broadcast team, people behind the scenes, stewards. You're going to have a couple things to look at once the tickets are placed, but I want to thank everybody. We've had I think we're closing in on 80 registered drivers. We had 60 drivers qualify for this race in particular, and this is only race 2 of a 14-week season, which includes, a non-points race right in the middle of everything, the All-Star race. So I can't wait for this thing to keep going and concluding. It's going to be a great freaking season, and I can't wait.
Indeed. Well said. Well, as we know here, PHG, great racers, better people. And it's proven it every single night, whether it's qualifying night or race afternoon. We're seeing it on track in the booth and in the Discord. Y'all be sure to check out that website. Tune in tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. And we will catch you next time. Only thing left to say is game over, man. Game over.
Man, game